Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special spoiler discussion with myself and Andy talking Caped Crusader.
Caped
Batman, Caped Crusader.
Crusader.
Caped Crusader. Now, before we dive into the things we want to talk about, spoilers and overall thoughts, I first want to say I think we both can agree. Warner Brothers screwed up by letting the show go to Amazon. They really screwed up. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
man, this is going to help Amazon. A lot of people are going to be talking about this show. I was like, really? Guys, like, why'd you let it go? Why? Did you not have
Because
faith in
David
it?
Zaslav likes tax write-downs, cut-offs, or wait, whatever it's called.
Or basically just didn't want to pay to have the money on the service. A lot of
Yeah,
people are going to be discussing this show,
yeah,
regardless of what
yeah,
it is. It's kind of ridiculous, but
yeah. It is August 1st, so we can, and when you watch it, it is August 1st, so
yeah.
we're going to talk about all spoilers. So if you haven't seen season one, it's on streaming on Prime Video right now, all over the world in like, what, 200 plus countries. So,
Yeah,
which is,
yeah. Insane.
yeah, again, what he
Um,
said, they met
yeah.
Warner Bros. Messed up because they could have had this could have been a big launch, and for Max that is now available in Europe and other parts
Mm,
in the world, but
oh well.
Warner Bros. Is gonna Warner Bros.
100%. What do you think overall? Like overall thoughts, like just like as you got through the show and finished it.
Well, listen, I seeing like the minds of Bruce Timm and J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. I mean, like what a freaking trinity of people. I I was excited to see like what they would all cook together with something
Mm-hmm.
with Batman. Because again, we know Bruce Timm is he's a go when it comes to Batman. Same with Matt Reeves. I was curious about how J.J. Abrams would like kind of fit into this equation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I love that it is a little bit of something new, something old, and something in between. Because we've had a lot. I mean, as you guys who watch Jordan's channel and watch all his like he's done, I think he's ready to like 5 Batman shows now. Like there's a lot of Batman content out there. So it's like, how do you make a Batman anime show in 2024? And I love that it is set in the 1940s because now like we can't now we can rely on high tech. There aren't a bunch of touch screens, whether so it's
Mm-hmm.
very it's I mean, it's almost like I kind of wish that the Batman, like the movie would have
Yeah.
actually been like a period piece because this is actually
Ooh.
more thrilling,
Mm-hmm.
because like when we see the Batmobile, we see the cave, and we see just kind of how the equipment is for Batman. I love that kind of setting. So it is because I was worried that oh, are we gonna get because the animation style felt like very similar to uh, Batman TAS,
Mm-hmm.
and but no, this was still something refreshing and kind of like it's almost like re-energized my Batman love a little bit because for me personally, there's been so much Batman content. I'm kind of like, ugh, like another. But now I'm like, this is exciting,
Yeah.
and it was a new experience of having something like a Batman thing to binge. So, but what about you? How'd you feel
Uh,
about it?
Same thing. I really appreciate the fact that they stuck with a time like a period piece, and like you can tell this is Batman the animated series, not really 2.0, but like this is a love letter to that, and they've already said that it was. Um, you can tell that just some of the decisions and choices they're making. It's clear that they're like, we wanted to do, because they said that we're telling a version of what we wanted to do before, but back then the censors was blocking a lot of stuff we wanted to do, and we also wanted to do some new things as well. So I appreciate the fact that it does feel like a love letter to the show that made me fall in love with Batman, but also them doing their own thing as well. I love the intro, like that little the music and everything and the visuals. It's pulled from the show, but like I still like really like it. I love the decisions on the villains they used. Some familiar, some were not, in terms of like who've already been used before in animation. And I think it works. There are some things that maybe isn't the best, but I really appreciate in what they did with the show. I really do. I can't wait for season two. I'm curious. Like, what are they gonna do? Because they've done some build up and some setup. Did you get this feeling that we were gonna be seeing Barbara become Batgirl or Batwoman in the show? Because I really started to feel that towards the back half.
I I think that I think they're placing this. They're planting the seed for
Mm,
that storyline at some point because I think it was one. I think it was Bruce Timm or someone who said that in this universe, for example, there aren't any superheroes.
yeah.
We're not going to see someone like Superman, for example. So it makes sense that the rest of the Bat family is not up and running yet. That
Mm.
it's going to be something we see a little bit later. I mean, there is one episode where all of the fucking Robins are
Yes.
running, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is this just a show's way of saying you're not seeing these kids become Robins anytime soon? So,
Dick
when
Grayson's the only one because he's. But I was like, wait a minute, Dickie, Jason, Carrie. I'm like, what the fuck are? What are they doing? I'm like, oh my god, that's what they're doing. I'm like, that
yeah,
is crazy.
yeah, so like like, let's say if this show goes on for like let's say it goes on for 5 6 seasons, something like that. We
Yeah.
could see all of them kind of come into the Bat family all at the same time at almost. Again, putting a little spin on it. But yeah, I definitely think that Batgirl will be a season 2 plot point. Um, that she's now kind of like we see throughout the season that she's starting to see like the big cracks in Gotham City's legal system because there is none.
Yeah.
And now she's gonna have to realize that, oh, maybe I have to lawyer by day and crime fighter by night to
Hmm.
be able to get some more justice for the city. So that's kind of where I think this is going. But again, if they're again, I also wouldn't be surprised if they decide to just be like, no, it's just gonna be a Batman solo show. He's just
Yeah.
he has Barbara will be his like confidants in the legal world. James Gordon will be his confidant in the cop world and stuff like that. So I could see that being the case. I know, but I know you're like the biggest Batgirl fan. I know. So like, do you think they're gonna do her as Batgirl next season, or like is it gonna be like a slow burn?
I thought they were going to. I thought they were gonna. I thought they were actually going to really. Well, once he gave his phone number to her, I'm like, hmm, hmm. He's trusting her to call the mansion to get a hold of Alfred, who also you notice he had a different voice when he answered that phone. Alfred changed his voice a little bit. I'm like, all right. I think so. I gotta say, I was surprised, even though Gentleman Ghost was confirmed, but I was surprised they actually have some supernatural elements and fantastical stuff in this show. I thought we were going more grounded. We're not, because we had Nocturna, of course, the whole episode with all the Robins and everything, and then you had Gentleman's Ghost. I'm like, there. I was surprised. Like, there's a blood ritual. I'm like, okay, I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a grounded Batman show, not so much doing that. Did you have that same feeling at first going in? Because at first they
Yeah.
don't have any fantastical elements at first.
Yeah, I mean I kind of suspected that they would get there eventually. That it was right now. Let's spend the first couple episodes setting up the world, kind of just
Mm-hmm.
easing ourselves into it. And but now, like, but by the time we got to the episode where she shows up, I'm kind of yeah, like I can accept that this is a world where the supernatural exists. I mean, now I could even see something like Bane's Venom existing, uh,
Raish, Raish
Rage with a lot
Agul.
with
Mm-hmm.
the Lazarus Pit and so on,
Yeah.
which again, I kind of would be fascinated to see like how something like the Lazarus Pit and Venom look like back in the 1940s, because
Mm-hmm.
like how do you develop a super drug like that, and like or how do you like what did the world know about the Lazarus Pits almost 60, 70, 80 years ago from our time? So I I'm definitely interested to see where this could go next. And yeah, I my favorite episode though, because I was really good. Like my favorite episode was definitely the Clayface stuff,
Oh
because
yeah.
again, because you and I, we grew up with Batman animated series, so we're familiar with the mud monster, not this, and like like it's so haunting because I'm like I didn't know Basil Carlo was a thing in the comics
Mm-hmm.
until Gotham, but I didn't know he looked like that in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I really that was like one of my favorite plot points of the season. What was because we meet a lot of villains, a lot of
Yes.
characters. What was
Mm-hmm.
your favorite?
Harley. I'll be honest. I was because we had seen the Jester outfit and we kind of suspected, and I think they confirmed that this is a different Harley and that there's no Joker connection, or at least I think they may have confirmed that. But based on what they were showing, there's no Joker to be seen anywhere, which we'll talk about that in a second. That I liked the reveal because Harleen Quinzel is, of course, a kind of recurring character until her main episode, where the voice changed, that very soft and kind of like, lower registered voice. That's who she really is. It's basically what Batman was doing. He has a higher register, more kind of playful voice, but then this is who truly is behind the scenes in the Batman suit or just talking to Alfred. She's that same way. Bubbly personality, very nice to Barbara and Renee. Really, really nice to Renee. There's a kiss. But then this is who she really is, this jester. And the whole thing of, the kings used to rule the court. Now the jesters do. Like that line, like I liked how they changed her character. I think her over time being a therapist has morphed her into this person that she really is, the jester. Because they said Harley, Quinn, but like realistically, I think she's just the jester. She's a different character, kinda. I think that's what they were kind of implying, is that her over time being in this role, that she started to realize, oh, all these people, like these millionaire, billionaire people, these higher up people, they need to be taught a lesson. And like, look, she had a guy in a freaking diaper, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that episode when like we go down to her
yeah,
Harley lair, I guess, and we're
yeah,
seeing all that. I'm like, why is this taking Harley? I kind of really want to see in live action as soon as possible.
yes, yes. I mean, this would be very fascinating. I know the lore, of course, created back in the day on the Batman animated series, the connection to Joker. But I like the fact they found a way to do something different without his connection. So, and maybe there is still something left to do with that. It's just not, it just didn't initially cause her to be this. It wasn't him at all. Um, well, I kind of suspected that we were going to get a tease of Joker, which we do. Um, what are you hoping for? Because that one word he says, it's a deep voice. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not
Yeah,
Joker that I
yeah.
know.
As soon as they cut to the credits, like I was just glaring to see like if they would list the voice actor, and I'm like, fuck, they
They
did not.
didn't. Yeah, I checked too.
Um, yeah, like it. I'm really hoping it is someone we haven't heard before, just
Mm.
doing a different. I kind of want it to be a new actor. And again, whether they're an unknown or an established actor, that doesn't matter to me. Like I just want it to be someone who we haven't, like let's say it was the guy who voiced Joker in Batman Under Red Hood, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I want it to just be someone different, someone's completely unique in this,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I don't mind if, for example, there is no Harley and Joker connection in this world. I think that it's because I think it's a little bit of a commentary on the fact that they're because DC has done a very much of a romance story between them for
Yeah.
decades, which is it's one of the most problematic loves romance stories because he's abusive towards her. So for me, like if there's no connection between it, I'm perfectly fine with that. And then seeing also just this because this when I heard a voice, for some reason it took me back to Jeremiah in Gotham. That this was like not the Joker that always laughs, but this is the more like very psychotic, cold-hearted Joker,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that could be refreshing because I feel like animation they always rely so heavily on like the hysterical laughter and all that. So I I wonder, yeah, I wonder how he's gonna fit into season two, definitely. But I was like sitting there the whole, like by the whole episode, I'm like, are they gonna be? Can they do a season of Batman Caped Crusader without Joker? And I'm like, nope, they can't.
Well,
Um,
technically, they did 98% of the show without Joker. So, because I honestly was expecting, because once they did the Harvey Dent episode in episode 9, the fallout of the acid in his face, I'm thinking episode 10 is going to be like a surprise. Like, we're going to get Joker or something, and it's a two-parter. I was like, okay, maybe they're not going to do Joker. Or if they do, it's a tease, but I was expecting they're hiding him from the marketing and that he's actually in the show. And technically, yes, but he's not really in it. You don't even see his face, really. Like, only a part of it. Um, so, I mean, I'll give them credit. because they were doing they were doing villains that were not traditional villains that we've seen before. So I'll give them that. What was something that you didn't really that didn't click for you, or something you didn't really like as much? Because honestly, the whole Bullock and Flash, which we all know Bullock is in it. Besides the Gotham show where they really made him more of a good guy over time, Bullock has always been seen as a bad cop. They really made him so bad, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It just
it's
didn't. I
nothing
don't know.
new.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the same. You know.
Yeah, I mean that plot. I mean, I kind of liked seeing what they were scheming like in the first, like the first few
Yeah.
episodes and whatnot. But I like they dragged on a little bit too long. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like. We get it. Like you've sold the point already that they're corrupted. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think we need to see them this heavily involved with the show. And so I'm trying, yeah, there was. I mean, I really like the show for the most part. I mean, I really like this cast. I think
Mm-hmm.
Hamish, he's a great Batman,
Yeah.
and I know a lot of people were like, I don't know why people were giving him so much crap when he was announced. I'm like, voice actors' voices,
Mm-hmm.
like they can do different voices. So calm
Yes, and he
down.
does. He does. Yeah.
Um, and like I love there's a good distinction between his Bruce Wayne and his Batman. Where like I would get fooled if I
Mm-hmm.
was a citizen in Gotham, and if I met Bruce Wayne, I would never once think, oh, that's Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Yeah, no, I love this first season. There was, again, because there was so much new take on things that like it didn't feel like just like a Batman the animated series redux. Yeah, the animation style is very similar to that show, but again, the 1940s settings kind of sets a whole new game of, this is what we can do because of this time period, but here's
Yeah.
what we cannot do because
Yeah.
of this time period.
Which is a
So
lot. Yeah.
it's a lot of
Uh,
things, yeah.
the thing that I really wish, and they at the end they start to kind of change it. Bruce treats Alfred really badly in this season. Like it got a little, it got really frustrating. But there were some moments of him revealing his, like letting his emotions, because Bruce is holding them in, like he does. But a lot of the instances we've seen in adaptation for Batman and Alfred, Bruce Wayne and Alfred, is he is a little bit more vulnerable with Alfred because he's been there for him. And in this case, he is not. He doesn't talk to Alfred hardly ever besides the
He
mission.
talks down to him. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
he says Pennyworth the entire season until
At the very end.
the finale. Yeah, and I'm like, I understand it from a psychological standpoint. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I can also understand why you wouldn't like it because it is such a it is such a 180 from what we're used to seeing. But at the same time, like because there's that one episode we have the flashback which it was damn
Oh
creepy
yeah.
where he
Mm-hmm.
just like slams open the door in the middle of the night and like I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
that.
I know how I'm gonna. I know what I'm gonna do, and you're gonna help me. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, this kid is
they're all
fucked.
gonna pay. They're all gonna pay because
Yeah,
he's like stone faced nothing, and then he finally breaks down and cries, and after that is everything changes for him. After that final bit of emotion, he goes, they're all gonna pay, and you're gonna help me do it." Closes the door.
yeah,
Okay, don't know what that means at the time. What does that mean? Well, now we know. It's the mission. And even that line too at the end where he's like, "Yeah, the odds are stacked against us, but I don't care." Like he's gonna keep pushing, and so that's a Batman way to go. Um, Final thoughts, and what would you give it out of 10 if you had to
I would
rate it?
give. I would give it a 9 out of 10
Mm-hmm.
because I do think that the only thing that and again this is not against the show. This is against Amazon, and if anything, is that I don't think this is a binge show. I think this is a show that we're supposed to have on a weekly basis,
Mm,
have kind of this water cooler discussion,
yeah.
and because again, 10 even though 10 episodes is a short season, I still feel that it would have been nice to have a new Batman show that is able to be very mature and grown up on a weekly basis, especially when I don't know, I felt we're starting to see the death of binging, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I mean, look at Netflix example. Everything they do now is part one, part two, part three, or whatever.
Yep.
So that's the only downside. But again, I'm not holding against the show. I'm holding against Prime Video's um,
Release
uh,
strategy.
Release
Yeah,
strategy, exactly.
yeah.
So,
Because if you look at like say Has Been Hotel, which was a show that was created and well based off YouTube concepts and stuff, and they had like a pilot and everything. They dropped that in increments of like I think 2 episodes per week. So they were dropping them. So at least you got a chunk. If they would have done that, you get 5 weeks of the show. You get
yeah,
5 weeks.
that's good actually.
Especially with 9 and 10 being a two-parter Harvey Dent, I think that would have worked based on how that 2 episodes were set up. For me, I would say it's an 8.5 out of 10. But I really enjoyed it. I voiced my concerns, or at least things I wish they would have done differently, or whatever. But in terms of what they pulled off, they succeeded with this show. I think they succeeded, and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen in season 2, what the plan is, and I really hope Amazon hopefully sees the response the show's getting and puts it out weekly release, or at least in chunks, so instead of this whole drop all 10 episodes at once, because Amazon Prime traditionally doesn't do that. They drop
No, that's why I
week to
was so
week. Yeah.
surprised because I'm like, because I know like Invisible, The Boys, Rings of Power, like, it was like the first 2 or 3
Yeah.
episodes, and
And
then
then
one,
a
one,
week.
one, one, one. So I was like,
They
because I'm
did the
like
same
thinking
thing
like,
for Fallout, the Fallout live action show. They did the same thing, dropped all eight episodes at once. Yeah. I don't know.
now I think one question we should ask, and I think this would be a good discussion point in the comments below, guys. So pay attention. Um, what is the better new DC animated show, My Adventure with Superman or Batman Caped Crusader?
My Adventures, I think, is better. I think overall for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
Yeah. They're both succeeding in what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
They're obviously very different shows in terms of tone, but in terms of what they're accomplishing and what they're doing, I think My Adventures takes the cake. Now, the first half of season 2 before the Supergirl stuff, I think, it was okay. It was solid. But the Supergirl stuff really amped it up, I think, in terms of what they were doing. For this show, I think it was working because they were balancing Bruce and Batman's kind of involvement because the whole weight of the show isn't on Bruce Wayne Batman's shoulders. It's actually on a lot of characters. Like they were focusing on a lot of characters, not just like you said, just like a Bruce Wayne Batman show, which they could have done, where it's like 80% that character and everything else just kind of set up for him to be more involved. But they had literally scenes, and like 5-6 minutes goes by, no Bruce Wayne, no Batman. It's just focusing on Gordon or Barbara, like you know, um,
even Harvey Dent, I think
yeah,
that's why his death at the end of the season is. Well, yeah, I was kind of like a little shocked. I'm like, oh, so Two Face is just not going to be a thing in this universe.
I was
But like,
surprised.
but
Mm-hmm.
like because of how much it developed him, like you feel for him in the end. Like that's why, again, I know people have very different thoughts about the Gotham Knights TV show, but like they actually develop Harvey as a real character, and that's why when he becomes Two Face, you do kind of feel sad for him, and that's the same
Yeah.
thing here in this show where
Mm-hmm.
because you had someone like Clayface for like an episode or two. You had Oswalda Cobblepot.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I don't mind her being female. I just thought the name is so lazy because I'm like, you just added an A to the end of it.
Yeah, yeah, that's.
Like it's like I'm like, come on now. Like we can be a little more creative than that. But
Yeah.
yeah, with Two Face, like it is a tragedy. And it's again now Bruce has lost another person he loved in his life. So we will see how that goes in
Yeah.
in season 2, which hopefully, I mean I think they're done with season 2 because they got a 2 season pickup. So hopefully we
Get it sooner rather than
maybe
later.
January. Like I think that would be a great start to
Yeah,
start
I would
2021.
say yeah. Don't yeah. I mean, or I don't know. I guess it depends on how far along and if they want to rush it out. I mean, it depends because if they get a season 3 and 4, maybe you don't want to rush out season 2 and then season 3 and 4. If they were to do in chunks or whatever, like make us wait even longer for the next season because it's not
Mm.
confirmed, and so maybe it's just a waiting and see thing. But thanks Andy for being here. Appreciate it. It was fun chatting about the show.
Yes.
Make sure you check out Andy on Screen Rant, of course, Multiverse of Color, and check him out, of course, on Twitter and all the social medias. And I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion. Let us know in
And
the
like
comments below,
and like subscribe to this channel.
and make sure you guys comment below
Wherever
your
wherever
thoughts.
the
Yep,
circle will be.
wherever
Yeah.
I am. Make sure you comment below your thoughts
Yeah.
on the show. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.